The goal of today's conversation is simple. We want to unpack what facilitation really means across our leadership academies, whether it's SEALA, MELA, SEALA, or NALA, what makes a good facilitator, what does not, and what people should realistically expect when they apply. So also this event is a part of our current recruitment for CELA 19, which will take place in July in Astana. And so therefore we encourage everyone to apply to facilitate for CELA 19 Academy. And today we're joined by 4 facilitators who bring different experiences and perspectives. And so let's do quick intros. I would ask you guys, please share your name, network, what do you do in your real life, and one thing facilitation has taught you that you, let's say, didn't expect. Let's start with Jarkyn. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Dina. Hello, everyone. I'm Jarkyn Samanchina. I'm from SEALA, Kyrgyzstan. I graduated from CELA 13 back in 2017. We had our CELA at Blagoevgrad in Bulgaria. By academic training, I specialized in international relations and political science, but I've been working for over 20 years in wildlife conservation with a British NGO called Fauna and Flora. And one thing that facilitation experience taught me is to be an active listener, because I was not one before. So, thank you.
Thank you. Sarika?
Yeah. Hi, thanks, Tina. Hi, I'm Sarika Grover. I live in India, in Delhi, part of the SEALA network, the second SEALA, SEALA 2. I run my own boutique marketing firm in India, focused around fashion lifestyle. That's the background. And one thing that I learned through facilitation was one, of course, what Jarkyn said, being able to listen in better, but it's also just accountability, that higher accountability. The participants' experience at the academy is highly dependent on how we play our role. And that makes us very, very accountable for how the entire experience pans out for the participants. So that was a huge learning. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sarika. Jon?
Hello, everybody. Jon Whetsell, Birmingham, Alabama. So I was in manufacturing for 25 years, and we bought 30 manufacturing companies. Looking at 2 manufacturing companies right now. I'm from the SIBF network, and what I learned, Sarika was a great partner and taught me so much about sitting and listening and asking questions. But the person sitting in front of you the first day is going to be so different at the end of the academy. And then seeing them in social media so many months later, they're just a completely different person. So many of them have grown tremendously.
All right. Just thank you all for being here. And so we have about an hour together, and I'll ask everyone to keep answers focused and concise. That way we can hear from all speakers and still leave some time for the audience questions. So let's begin. The first question, what first pulled you into facilitation for a leadership academy, and how has your relationship to this role changed over time as you facilitated more than one academy? I think we will start with Sarika.
Yeah. What pulled me to facilitate? One was, when I did SEALA, I was at a really bad place in life. So as a participant, so for me, there was a lot of, it gave me a space which was safe space for me, and to be able to share freely and to be able, it was a give and take. What got me back was the people and the capacity to create that space. That's what I wanted, to be able to go back to the diversity of people experiences and be able to provide a space for others to be able to share and be in a space where there is no judgment. And otherwise, there are multiple things and roles that we play outside of the academy. So to be able to provide that space, I think that was a big draw for me. The first time I facilitated was SEALA 4, that was 2017. And I actually had Susan and Dan as my co-facilitators, so they were amazing. So they made it so comfortable for me because it's the first one, so you're not fully sure. So I was doing a shadow. And from there on, I've done my 6th academy just this year. I felt the transition there's been a lot of learning, unlearning. There have been places where I've had to, me and my co-facilitators, we've had to step back, realign, go back in for the participants. But I think a lot more comfortable. I also have learned to listen a little better. It's still a long journey, but being able to listen in, understand, read between the lines, understand how to nudge. I've learned not to advise or be a coach or push people in a certain direction, but just to be there to hold that space and let the participants struggle on their own. For me, that was one of the biggest pieces, to just let them figure and struggle on their own and not jump in to solve things for them. So that's been a journey for me. Yeah.
Thank you, Sarika. Let me pass this to Jon. Jon, the CELA 18 last year was your first time that you ever facilitated the Leadership Academy, right?
Right.
So
It was
what was the motivation?
So the motivation was going to the reunion and seeing the impact that it had on everybody that was at the reunion. The year before I went, and the people were just so close to each other from all different countries, and the impact that the academy had on everybody was so strong, and the positive experience that they had just made me really want to know more about the academy, be part of it, be part of facilitation. And now I feel like I'm just part of this community, which is an amazing community. And then you see it interact with the people interacting after the academy, meeting each other every week. And it's just a really amazing experience.
Are you still guys meeting?
No, but well, our group is meeting once a month, but seeing some of the people in social media meeting for these weekly or monthly, get-togethers is pretty amazing.
Well, yeah, it is amazing. I didn't know you still are meeting at least once a month. It's quite a thing. Such a
Yeah.
devotion after the academy. Thank you, Jon. Jarkyn, what about you? You did several of them.
Yes, thank you, Dina. I think initially I was curious. I was curious to see what the academy looks like from the other side of the fence, so to say. But then I generally love working with people. And so it's people who, make me want to go back. And it includes everybody, each new cohort, the faculty, the co-facilitators. So, and it's a process of growth. So the same way as Jon said, we see, somebody for the first time, and then at the end of the academy, it's not the same person. It's the same thing for facilitators. And so far, I've done 6 academies, 4 CELAs, 1 MELA, and 1 SEALA. And it's a journey of growth. And it's a lot of love. You basically fall in love with the people, especially those who are in your group. And it's an addictive process, and you just want to be part of that process. So, and I love it. I enjoy it a lot.
Since you came back from SEALA, you must be experiencing the withdrawal, since you mentioned addiction.
Very much so. And also, I really miss all the delicious food that Saman and her team fed us. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's quite a motivation, actually, to apply to SEALA. We are joined by Eldegiz. Eldegiz, let's do the quick intro. Please share your name, your network. What do you do in real life? And one thing facilitation has taught you that you didn't expect.
Hi, Eldegiz Rafibeyli. I'm originally from Azerbaijan, currently residing in Doha, Qatar for the last 14 years. I'm CELA 14 from 2018. Real life, I'm in corporate, oil and gas, finance, project controls, contracts, business support, pretty much. into my own investments recently. As to facilitation, I think, I mean, to be fully honest, this is as close as you get to the feeling you had during the academy. And we all know we're not going to experience it anymore, unfortunately. And I envy every cohort, every new cohort that I see. But this is as close as it gets. And it's a great opportunity to reconnect with old friends, make new friends, and to grow yourself, because I am learning about myself every time I go back to facilitate. I've done 2 academies so far. The very last one just recently, got back like a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, an amazing experience. You grow yourself and you watch others grow. And the understanding that you are being a part of somebody else's journey is just so humbling and just a huge privilege.
Thank you, Eldegiz. I have like a goosebumps. Let's go to the next question. In a very practical terms, what does being a good facilitator actually look like during academy? And what do participants usually notice, even if they can't always name it? Jarkyn.
Actually, there are so many different things, but I would probably start with emptying your cup. You know how, I'm sorry, how Bill in one of his sessions tells the Zen master story about emptying your cup so that you can, fill it up with new things and ideas. The same thing applies to facilitators, because, all of us, think that we're smart, we have a lot of experience. Some of us are coaches, trainers, with all sorts of certification. But I think the most important thing for facilitators is to be there for their participants, to be able to listen to them, to support them. As John King says, be all in. So it applies, throughout the academy in many different spheres, but it also applies to us as facilitators. And also, I want to quote Mead. I really like, how he says, the less facilitator speaks, the better. So we just have to listen, and we have to really listen intently and be able, in a way, to listen to what's been unsaid. And I think that that is important. So, and to show up, commitment should be there, as Sarika said earlier. And probably, I don't know if it's worth going too deep, but you all know that there is this facilitator commitment and engagement letter, and there are many, many important points that we, read through and commit to, and we sign to, and we really should make it a living document, at least for those 2 weeks that we are with the participants in the academy. Thank you.
Thank you, Jarkyn. John, what's your take on that?
Initially I was thinking to myself, oh, I have this great opportunity to share my business experiences or personal experiences, and the academy had nothing to do with any of that. It was asking questions, sitting there, being comfortable with the quiet space and just asking the follow-up questions. Sarika was really good about teaching me how to do that. Be comfortable with the quiet space, pull the person out. And the thing that kept repeating in my head over and over is just trust the process. And that was just a very, very positive thing, to trust the process, be quiet, listen, and ask more questions.
Okay, appreciate. Sarika, let me pass this to you. So what actually do participants usually notice, even if they can't always name it?
I think it's also the energy you get in the room. They can sense the energy in the room. They can sense if you're being authentic or not. If we don't know something, we say we don't know, or if we can get back, or if just being very authentic. And I do want to pick up from what Jarkyn said in terms of showing up. They're watching us all the time.
Right.
are you reaching not just the learning group rooms, but also when we are in the main classroom, the plenary? Are we getting there on time? Are we reaching before the other anybody else is there? Are we on our phones, not on our phones? Are we engaging with other participants, other people when a session is on? We can sometimes assume that, okay, we are doing this, nobody's watching us. That's not true. We are being watched at every given second when we are exposed to the participants. So how we show up, how we conduct ourselves, how we are accountable, being authentic, listening in, I think all of that plays a very, very critical role, and the participants are watching and they're picking up. They're picking up the vibe, they're picking up the pulse, they're picking up, they sense the energy in, and I think these are some of the ways we also show how we are committed to them having an amazing experience. Yeah.
Thank you. It seems so obvious, but it's a great insight. They indeed watch you. So it's basically you need to embody whatever you request from the people. Eldegiz, how would you comment that?
Yeah, I think Sarika and Jarkyn and Jon described it beautifully, and I think I can only add to that that a certain it's a very fine line between having to be their confidant, so someone that participants can share with, and at the same time being some sort of I don't want to say authority, but for the lack of better word than authority, because you're there as facilitator and also someone who is there to listen and who they can confide with. So yes, this is it's a behavior when you have to be you have to show up on time, even before time. You're not on your phone. You're there. You're setting up an example. And at the same time, you're their friend. So it's I think it's that fine line that is something that I took away from the academies.
Thank you, Eldegiz. Means you need to balance always, right?
Yeah.
I just want to follow up this question with the next one. So, what do you think are some facilitation behaviors or mindsets that do not work well in a leadership academy settings? Things that might look strong on paper, but might create problems in real group dynamics. Jon, what do you think?
Well, I think that drawing your own conclusion on any of the participants in advance is a big mistake. You have to go in and be very open-minded to who this person might become or who they actually are. You can't draw any conclusions in advance. I thought that was a very important. Some of the people, when I first met them, I thought they might be a certain way, and they were totally different. And just trust the process. And everybody turned out very different than I thought they would be in the beginning. And it was a great, great group.
Thank you. Sarika, what about you?
I think what doesn't work is, or what we need to be careful of is telling them what to do. It's very natural for us to jump in and say, oh, look at it like this. Or sometimes other participants start to advise, and it's important in our role to for ourselves to be careful. And also if the participants are starting to advise, then how do you move the conversation and nudge the conversation that it becomes a lot more questioning in? Because the whole intent of the academy is for the participants to find the answers themselves, and we are there as a support structure. The course is designed in a manner that they will eventually get to their nuggets from the program. We lay a lot of emphasis on some of the modules, like the defining moment, or the lifelong Michael, like, oh wow, like everybody should have this aha moment in the defining moment story. But as facilitators, we have to be cognizant that everybody will have their defining moment or aha moment or a Shazam at different points during the program. So to not push participants beyond their comfort zone, you they through their own process need to get to a certain edge, but it's not our role to push them off. It's for them to kind of figure their way. And each participant will share as much as they're comfortable at any given point of time. You will have some sharing immediately, some will have a moment in the middle of the program, some will have it in the end, some will have it 6 months down the academy getting over. So each participant had their journey, so we have to be cognizant that we are not pushing them beyond what they're comfortable to share. So yeah.
Thank you. It's a great reminder that everyone is moving on his or her own pace. Eldegiz, what about you?
Yeah, I think again, Sarika, you're doing such a great job describing everything. But yes, I think it's again, it's very tempting, and I think Jon mentioned it as well. It's very tempting to get in there and try to help when you're not really there to push them or guide them or direct them. It has to be, even if it's done in such a manner, it needs to be in such a subtle way, because at the end of the day, it's their own journey. And from my point of view, we are facilitators. So we are facilitating their journey. We're creating the right environment, the safe space for them to go as deep as they're comfortable with, as deep within themselves as they're comfortable, and walk this transformational journey on their own. Again, I'll just add to what Sarika said. Some will have their aha moment or maybe even a slight breakdown at the beginning, middle, end of the academy. Some may not at all. And at the end of the day, it's their journey. You're doing your best to help them go through this transformation experience without pushing.
Thank you, Eldegiz. Jarkyn, anything to add to that?
I think everyone has spoken very beautifully about what a good facilitator should not be doing. So I completely agree. No judgment, no drawing conclusions, no imposing your own ideas, because it's all about creating safe space where people feel comfortable sharing. And I would probably add one thing. It's about co-facilitation with your partner. It's extremely important to find the right language with your co-facilitation partner, because you two are creating that safe space and environment where people can go through the process and achieve what they want to achieve or what they came to achieve. So that's important, I think.
We can sum up that facilitating at the SEALA or any other sister network academy is not about saving people, teaching them, or coaching, or guiding, or advising. Is that correct? All right. I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions in perceiving what facilitation is at our academies. All right, so let's go to the next question. What is the moment during an academy when you thought this is exhausting, and at the same time, you thought this is exactly why I'm here? Sarika.
There are lots of moments when you feel like really exhausted. But I think when you any point where one of your participants have a aha moment is where you sit back and say, okay, this is what I came here for. And all the long hours and the being alert and the attention and everything dissolves at that point. But so it is that when you hear a participant, there's a breakthrough or there is some takeaway with a given participant. I think for me that's a big one. Or when you see, and we had this, Jon and I had this, where at one point in the middle of the academy, we both just sat back and I said, our job is done, because they were starting to engage with each other. and they were literally, they took over the role of being facilitators, right? And, talking between themselves, and if some participant sharing, then the other one would get in and ask a question, and they will roll within themselves, and we could just sit quiet in some session, and we were like, okay, this is done. This is great. So I think when the participants start to engage with each other, and when there is an aha moment with, of course, any of them, but when they take on the role of being facilitators to each other, and they understand that is a big one. Yeah.
Appreciate. Thank you. Jarkyn?
I would probably name two situations when you feel this is all so worth it. One is when your learning group participants say things like, the learning group room is the best place in the whole academy. This is where we, feel relaxed, feel comfortable, feel at home. As we say, this is your home for the next 10 days. And sometimes I think in each academy, there is at least one day when there is no learning group, and participants say, well, what a pity, we don't have a learning group. And then they come back the day after and they say how much they missed being in a learning group. And the second thing is probably when a participant, and there is always one like that, who held back and didn't open up from the beginning, or like in the middle of the process, would finally open up, and that means a lot, because that means you earn their trust and you help the process move forward. So
Thank you. Eldegiz, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I don't think I have much to add, so I'll just focus on the exhaustion part. What I noticed, I think the intensity of the program seems to catch up with you by day 7 or 8. And this is, again, my personal experience when you become a bit less patient. So this is something to be aware of, because the last thing you want to do is say something, look in a certain way, smile or don't smile in a certain way, that may lead to ruining it for the participant. And this is something you cannot do, absolutely. So something to be aware of, that the exhaustion does build up towards the end of the academy, but you have to sort of keep your calm. And yes, all those moments that Sarika and Jarkyn have mentioned, yes, the reward is something that you cannot put a price tag on. It's priceless. When you see people understand something, realize something, open up, share something very deep, you see people really transform and go deep, think, and then have their aha. The reward is huge. You cannot describe it. You have to see it. You have to be there.
Thank you, Eldegiz. You're creating this anticipation, Since you all mentioned exhaustion, Jon, and you were at the academy for the first time last year. What was your impression of the schedule? Can you share briefly with the audience what is it from the practical point of view? Because why people are actually talking about exhaustion?
Yeah, well, you start very early in the morning, and you go to late at night. So the schedule is very demanding, but the experiences that you're having, like the first couple of days where people are sharing things that are incredibly personal, incredibly deep, took a lot out of me, but in a very positive way. So yes, I was tired. I was tired for them. I was tired for me at the end of the day, but the exhaustion was a good exhaustion. And the schedule, the entire program is very demanding. You've got to be there every single day for the people. And I think that Sarika and I would meet in advance to make sure that the two of us were there 100% for the people. And that is it's tiring, but it is a very rewarding type of tiring. It's you've got to be there the entire process, which is 10 days, and at the end of the 10 days you are tired, but you are tired in a way that that you have given it all.
And if you had to, let's say, describe facilitation using one word from your body rather than your mind, what would it be?
Well, golly, it would be oh, I can't really put it into one word. It's giving it all, making sure that I have gone every day and listened and been a complete 100% good listener and asking questions. So it's the intensity and the intentionality of listening to the person.
Sarika, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, on the schedule, I just wanted to jump in and say this, and I've learned this over the academy. So the first time I facilitated, you go in very excited. So you have the day, we start a day 1 hour before the participants come in, because you will run through the day in your facilitator room, and you end the day, and then there's stuff to do for the next day. But you also want to hang with your learning group or co-facilitators, and there's a high temptation to stay long and longer in the evening and have
Right.
fun with your learning group and other participants and your facilitators, some faculty, because you're also meeting your co-facilitators and after a long time. And I did that in the first one. So it became like, how as a participant, I could stay up as late. But here as a facilitator, there's an accountability on our part to be extremely alert next day. And we start a day earlier and end late. So the first academy, I did actually end up staying late every night. And I saw it took a toll on me. In terms of my alertness, being all in. You manage, of course, on coffee and sugar, but it's still different when you're well rested. So I learned to have to put a clock to myself, irrespective of how much fun one is having, say X amount of time, and I have to exit. So that was a hard one for me, but I've learned to do that over. And some days you'll, of course, let go and be there. But a lot of days you have to put a cap and go back to your room while everybody's having fun. And the intent is also to have fun. I know we've talked about all the serious pieces, but there is also intent to have fun and have fun with the participants and everybody, and for it to also be a great experience. Yeah.
Jarkyn?
Just wanted to add to what Sarika was saying about the schedule. One thing that we usually tell participants, do not try to bring your work and try to work during the academy. And that equally applies to facilitators. It's a disaster. You cannot do both. So if somebody wants to become a facilitator and come to facilitate to the academy, no work, full concentration, full all in on the academy. That would be my advice.
I would say it's physically impossible to combine both, right? I got a question about the selection procedure. So facilitate, and I think I will ask Jarkyn that. So facilitator selection can be competitive and sometimes emotional. How would you explain the selection process to someone who applied but was not selected?
I suppose every academy has its own way of selecting facilitators. There are probably different committees that do the selection. I think at CELA, the selection committee is comprised of the CELA staff and also some of our senior facilitators like Susan and Paulette, and also the co-coordinator facilitator. So, and in terms of selection, it is really a very difficult process. It's also a very fine work in terms of putting together a group which would be very balanced in terms of geographic representation, in terms of network representation, in terms of gender balance, also experience. There will always be some experienced or more experienced facilitators and less experienced ones because, you pair them up so one can learn from the other. And about being or not being selected, I mean, it's like with everything in life, how many places we apply for, for school, for jobs. It's the same process. We either get it or we don't. And I think the most important thing is not to be discouraged. For example, from my own experience, I applied for CELA, I didn't get selected. I applied for MELA, I didn't get selected. I applied for SEALA, I didn't get selected. But if this is something that you really want and you just keep trying, then one day you will get it. So yeah, that's my response to your question, Dina.
I guess it's like people shouldn't take this personally. It's more of the combination of different conditions that have to come together, right, to make the right facilitators cohort.
Totally.
Eka wants to add something.
Yes, I would like to add a few words to this thing about selection, because it's the hardest part for me to say no to somebody whom I appreciate, love, and appreciate even more that person wants to be a facilitator than just an ordinary fellow. But you might have noticed, those who have already applied or have been a facilitator, that in every learning group we have two facilitators, and one of them is always a lead facilitator, which means that that person, we trust that person. That person has facilitated several times already, is experienced, and we trust that person to lead the process, to give example, to set the kind of tone and everything else for the other facilitator. And we have been trying for last few years to grow this bulk of lead facilitators within our own network. That's why sometimes the decisions were made from outside. It looked like we were selecting the same people, but basically we were driven by this goal to build this group of lead facilitators within the network. And now we can actually claim that we have a few very experienced people within the network who can be the lead facilitators. And this will kind of slowly will allow us to select more unexperienced facilitators, which means that there will be less and less kind of rejections or referrals or whatever we call it. But this does not mean that anybody should kind of not apply. Quite contrary, we would like new facilitators to keep on applying, especially we watch those who have been consistent in their efforts to apply for this role. And we appreciate it, and we will always take that into consideration when making the facilitator selection decisions in the future, and in order to increase this group of lead experienced facilitators. And those people will be also have a chance to be facilitated other sister networks, just like some of you have already done. And it will also give them more experience and more knowledge of this, what it is about, and all these things that were mentioned by fellows here. So please keep on applying and don't get discouraged if you don't get selected for the first time or for the second time, for the third time. We take that into you might become one of those who will be kind of like among that group that will lead the process in the future learning groups.
Mead also wants to add something.
Yeah, this selection is very tough on people's egos because not everyone gets in. Last year, we had 32 applications for 12 positions, and these were all people that were members of SEALA, CELA, or MELA. So, and a few SIBF people got turned down. And so those are tough calls to make. But I think Jarkyn expressed it very well. There's a number of conditions that have nothing to do with your relative value as a facilitator. It's our country balance, our gender balance, and so we make decisions. Would they team well? There's a whole group of decisions. It's a very tough. I was involved years ago. I'm no longer involved, but I know that it's very, very hard to make those decisions. And so I agree with Jarkyn, who now is the facilitator co-coordinator, who got turned down a few times before she started, and now she's running the process. So it's not necessary that people don't think or value you if you don't get accepted. It's that we had other things. Now, in a lot of cases, you'll get a personal phone call if you're turned down. You'll also get one if you're accepted. But that's one of the hardest things as we're making this more popular. People who belong to these networks are 1%ers and are used to succeeding at everything. but that's hard. You may get turned down. And it really isn't a reflection of anything about you. It's a reflection of the whole resume of the group of people and how it fits together.
Thank you, Mick. Thank you. So it's basically like choosing the right cohort of facilitators is like writing an elegant equation. Let's to make the academy successful. Nina, we will take questions a bit later. Let's proceed to the next one. So many facilitators stay actively involved in SEALA, SIBF, SEALA, MELA, or other networks. How has facilitation influenced your professional skills, leadership style, or decision-making in your everyday work? Eldegiz, let's start with you.
A very tough question. Thank you for starting with me. I think there is a saying, and I'll translate it into English. You explain it for 4 times, on the 5th time you understand it yourself. 4 раза объяснил, на 5-й сам понял. I think this is the benefit, like very selfish benefit that I got from facilitating. As you facilitate, you get your own aha moments. You understand things you didn't understand during your academy, in my case 8 years ago. Like during the SEALA facilitation, I had a couple of moments like, oh, okay, this is what it meant. So there is a personal growth or continuation of your personal growth involved big time during facilitation. And that obviously has its own consequences on your leadership skills, your work, your personal life, everything. I hope I could answer that question.
Anyone wants to add anything on that?
I can go.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so actually, Eldegiz, you said it. One is personal growth and where you are. Like, for example, for me, 10 years, where I was and where I'm today is different. So when you hear, you're also having different moments. But I also feel like it's not just professional, even at home and personal and with friends. Just the capacity to listen in I'm saying it's still 5% for me out of like, I still sometimes zone out when I'm listening or talking to somebody, but that has improved. And I've been able to take that to work and at home and my friendships in any form of relationships, because end of the day, we are engaging with people and working with people. And in my work, I work with a high diverse set of people. We have to go into clients' domains and work with head of departments across and get them to deliver a common objective. So to be able to work with a diverse set of people and to be able to listen to them and drive them towards a common goal has been really, really helpful. But for me, it's also really helped me at home, particularly with my parents. I have to say that. Yeah.
Wow.
Just being able to listen to them better and be a little more empathetic and not just run my own narrative. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you, Sarika. Jon, Jarkyn?
Yeah, for me, it's asking more questions and making sure people understand something. A lot of times I will jump in and think that everybody understands what we're talking about. So I'm asking more questions and trying to have a little bit more silence, and then also trying to create lunches or coffee times where people are feeling more comfortable about asking the questions. And being a facilitator really helped in that.
Thank you. Thank you. Jarkyn?
I just wanted to add to what Eldegiz said. We also do all the same things that the participants do. We share our defining moment story and we do the lifeline. And in fact, we do it twice, first in the Facilitator Academy with the fellow co-facilitators and second with the participants. And then we are also being briefed. So we get asked questions, including from the side of participants. And all of those things help you to understand yourself better, to to grow, to reevaluate your life, and to become a better person, basically. And so that definitely then reflects on your work, on your leadership style, both in your work environment and at home. So yeah, definitely there is an effect, very strong positive effect.
Thank you, Jarkyn. So for someone who feels unsure about applying for the first time and maybe wondering if they're ready or good enough, what would you tell them now, Sarika?
Oh, I would say don't think so much or don't overthink it. Just apply, and it's an amazing experience. So I would say go all in. Don't overthink it. It's I know we may be making it sound like a lot, and it may be sounding overwhelming, but it's very, very fulfilling, and it's also a lot of fun. So it's a great combination. So yeah, go all in.
Thank you, Jon.
The group of facilitators, when they get together, especially every morning, they're just so encouraging, and everybody has an expectation of excellence of each other, but they're very, very, very encouraging people. And so when you get in there, you're not doing this alone. You're doing this with the entire team of people that want you to succeed, and your co-facilitator is going to help you succeed.
Great. Thank you. Jarkyn?
Jon basically said everything that I wanted to say. Please apply. Please apply.
All right. I will not torture Eldegiz unless he wants to add anything.
No, feel free to torture. I think what I wanted to add is the group of facilitators, together with the faculty, and this is my honest opinion, is a group with highest IQ and EQ per capita. These 10 days are the most rewarding and pleasant 10 days in my entire year. Do apply, don't overthink it. I'm going to echo what Sarika said. If you are unsure that can I make it, can I do it, am I good enough, don't worry. I think your co-facilitators and the lead facilitators and faculty are there to help you out. You're not alone. It's not a journey that you will walk alone. People are there to help you. Don't overthink it. Do it. You can do it. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. I would add from the practical point of view, make sure you pay your membership fee because otherwise you would be ineligible to apply. Thank you all. Thank you all. And at this point, I'd like to open the floor for quick questions from the audience. I saw Nina was the first to raise the hand. Please go ahead. You are muted.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing your stories. That was very inspirational. And once again, I just decided in my mind that this is the right time for me to participate and to apply for this opportunity. As the SEALA is kind of a space where you come and go, and you have sometimes have to survive somehow and live your life. And then, especially in the time of crisis, I mean, the personal, professional, and the periods when you have challenges and you want to stretch yourself, this is a wonderful opportunity to go back to this space and to learn from others and to share your experiences and to bond. This bond is amazing. So my understanding is that being a facilitator creates such a bond that it gives you a rare opportunity, I would say, to grow both personally and professionally, and especially personally. And we all know that it's at some point after you go beyond this entry level, this emotional intelligence and bonding and this type of skills are far more important than some kind of technical skills. And even this bonding is something which is kind of your fuel to your engine or something like this. So I just wanted to reflect about that, and thanks again for sharing. That was really good opportunity for me to listen. I started listening carefully.
Thank you. We have a question from Varya.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to reconnect with the network and just, take in all of these wonderful experiences. It reminded me of my own facilitator experience back in, my God, 2015. And indeed, it was a beautiful journey. So thank you for that reminder. I guess, my question is actually about the content of the program and to what degree it has changed throughout the past decade. Maybe my question is to Mead and Bill and some of the facilitators that have had the experience of going through that through the program for several times and could talk to that. Thank you.
Let's address this question from actually 2 points of view. First, let probably Jarkyn reply this question because she actually went to several academies and would share her perspective as a facilitator. But then we also have Bill here, who is the creator of this academy. Jarkyn?
Thank you, Dina. Maybe it would have been better if Bill answered first and I went second, but I can tell that the program has changed from 2017 when I attended, but the essence, the message hasn't really changed that much. It's pretty much the same as you've all observed from your experience. Looking across different networks, I would say the program is very similar, maybe up to 95%. Bill, please correct me if I'm wrong. It's same concept, same messages, same 5 pillars. Exercises might be done in one academy, might not be done in another. Speakers sometimes vary. That is sometimes connected to the regional peculiarities. Like if we are in the Middle East, there might be more speakers from the MELA network and also some of the speakers from the Middle Eastern region. Same thing goes for SEALA and CELA. But I think in terms of how the program evolved over time and how really is it different from like when Varya facilitated, maybe Bill would be, not maybe, but for sure Bill is the best person to answer.
Bill, you're an architect of this program. What's your take on that?
Yeah, well, I guess there are 2 things I would say. One is in terms of the learning groups, the flow of the learning groups, that's been pretty consistent. However, the way we run them has evolved, and we're always adding new elements to the learning groups. So, for example, one of the things that I've come across is the idea of your future self. So now at SEALA, instead of doing this as the Merlin exercise, we're actually doing it as in the context of your future self. And I think that fits very well with the flow of understanding your past, understanding and being aware of your present, and then thinking about who am I in the future. So that's an example of one thing. Another thing we've done is we're trying to get more depth into the past with construction of the learning group. And so we've added some material into a subsequent learning group, the one on where are you, that will take you back into your past and look at trigger points. So Michael triggers you. So how were you triggered with Michael's session? And then where do you see that in your past, and what other triggers do you see in your past? So those things are always evolving. Another thing that's happened is that we're now offering 2 one-on-one interview sessions during the program. When Paulette was involved in SEALA, we had Anand did a different personality profile, personalysis, but he would do one-on-one sessions to explain it. Ashok from SEALA has taken over that role. And so that one question is whether we want to introduce personalysis with Ashok or not. But the other one-on-one Paulette was doing on the EQ. Now Paulette has stepped back and isn't doing that anymore. So we've invited Salma from MELA, who is an executive coach, to offer one-on-one coaching sessions during the 10-day program. So a lot of people feel like, you're cracking us open, but we need help kind of figuring out where we are. And those one-on-one sessions have proved very valuable. The other thing that is evolved is that we're putting more emphasis on doing the 4 pillars before Michael shows up. And the first 4 pillars are understanding yourself, understanding others, and that's with the personality profile. And then understanding systems and authority. And if you're familiar, we do star power. And that illustrates that very well, both of those. So when Michael comes, they've already experienced those 4 pillars. And so that's another change. And then more recently, we put more emphasis on reinvention. And there are 3 elements of reinvention. One is anticipating change. And Raheel from MELA does a really great session on futures thinking, and then anticipating change. We're doing design thinking, and then implementing change. We have Salma is doing her leadership dashboard. So all these things are in the last 2 or 3 years have emerged. And so it's a very different program from what you might have experienced 5, 10 years ago. And then the other thing I should add is each region, as somebody mentioned, has kind of a different focus, particularly in SEALA and some of Mead's experiences and relationships. There's more of an emphasis on startups and entrepreneurship. And so we've had special speakers focusing on that topic as they're available.
Thank you, Bill. Varia, I've been to the SEALA where you've been facilitating, 2015, it's SEALA 11. And I could tell you, because I experienced already 3 recent academies, it's still an amazing program, great content, and works well. Ibanez, where is Ibanez? She raised her hand. Ibanez, please.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you, Bill, Mead, and everybody. And it's so great to reconnect after 23 years. I was SEALA 2 in 2003, and 23 years passed, yes, even more. I also had a question in mind, but thank you, Varia, for raising that, how much the program has changed. And throughout these years, obviously, I can see that, almost every 4 to 5 years, the curriculum changes and, mentors are changing, but the core team, Bill, Mead, and many others, Susan, you stay. So before joining this, having in mind to become a facilitator in general, I talked to Anar, and thanks to him, he spent about 40 minutes on the phone with me explaining and what his facilitator look like and what the facilitator should do during the academy. And I have to say that Anar has covered everything what you 4 of you have covered here. And I have a flight in the morning. I didn't wait for your session to hear you because I thought that I will change my mind and it's going to be really, really tough. So I have already applied. And again, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to being selected. If not selected, even these questions were really interesting on how we define, between coaching, facilitation, and being a trainer. So it was really a good reflection for myself to think about these processes. Sometimes we are just, being involved in different roles in our daily lives or in the professional life. But when you think over it and when you try to define what is the facilitation means for you, that really brings a lot of, conscious kind of work into that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ibanez. We look forward to have a look into your application. Mead.
Yeah, just to make it clear, there is a 2-day training block before we start the academy that goes over exactly the nuances of the curriculum. And it does change often enough that even for someone who does it every year, as I do, there's always different emphasis. Bill never rests. So you will have a chance to train on the curriculum, and it will not be the first time you go through each of the exercises. And that 2 days is, it's not only mandatory, it really helps, because if you're too bogged down in the curriculum, then you can't do what Jon and others have expressed, which is listen. The curriculum is to get people to see themselves as they are and to react, to understand what's going on. And so it's important to understand the curriculum, but don't get bogged down in the fact that the most important thing is to listen and to help people as they go through whatever reaction they have to the material. And it's pretty, if you haven't done it in 7 years, it's like you're going through another academy, except now you have the responsibility for 7 other people. So Jarkyn, Susan, who's ever done that in the past, it's been a great addition to what we do.
Thank you, Meet. Sarika wants to add something?
Yeah, just very quickly, so having done SEALA 2, which was 2015, have seen the program and across MELA, CELA, and SEALA evolve significantly. What was important for me to also keep myself in check as a facilitator was to not compare. We will end up comparing, oh, this module was done in this academy, or this was done differently here, or I had this speaker in this academy versus the other. And, we tend to compare. What I realized, and I did that, and I realized that every academy that I've facilitated and across the different academies and regions, the outcome and the sense of the program stays the same. So for me, I learned to unlearn. I had to learn to unlearn the fact that I can't keep questioning the different modules or something you've tried, or this module is there, not there, but to trust the process. And eventually the outcome has been the best for us and that particular academy and the participants. So I've had to, trust the process completely. So I just wanted to leave that there because there are nuances to each academy. Yeah.
Right, and apply to facilitate at CELA 19. Come to Astana, it's a very, I would actually ask Jarkyn to talk about the weather conditions, because she's the one who was appreciating it every day. Because across our regions, it's extremely, extremely hot in July. But in Astana, Jarkyn,
it's amazing. July in Astana is beautiful. It's cool, breezy. Sometimes it rains, but that's no problem. It's really good. And especially if you have any issues with, I don't know, like high blood pressure or heart issues, it's steppe. So the elevation is like lower, let's say, than in Kyrgyzstan or Tajikistan. You will feel amazing. So it's really nice. Come to Astana.
Yeah, never expected that we would sell Astana as a health paradise, but it's really very chill. It's like a spring, and maybe for some it will be the spring of your life again. Meet.
Yeah, just also in Astana, we're staying in a hotel that's air conditioned. So those of you who have been through Blagoevgrad or Georgia or Koch, none of them had air conditioning in the rooms. We have air conditioning, which is a great benefit for some of us to sleep. So be aware of that.
Yeah, and for many of you, you won't even need it because it's already chill at night. Yeah, so I will wrap up at this moment. I want to thank all our facilitators. Deborah, hello. Thank you for your honesty, your energy, your willingness to talk about both the intensity and the reward of this role. And thank you to everyone who joined today. So if you are considering applying to facilitate, we hope that this session gave you clarity rather than pressure. So applying is about readiness and fit, not the perfection. And selection is about building the right cohort, not judging your worth. So we look forward to seeing thoughtful applications across our leadership academies. Thank you again and have a great rest of the day.